Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this video I was going to be talking about food luring, so let's get into it. So what is food luring? Food luring is using a treat or a piece of food to encourage your dog to get into a particular position. Normally you use a pretty small piece of food, but that's the very general explanation of it. Does food luring work well? From my personal experience, food luring works very well. Of course, this also depends on the dog as well, depending on how much they like treats, and then also what kind of treats you use. So, next question is, why does it work well? So I would say that food luring works well because it's a much more natural way to guide a dog in position. Generally, this will save you from having to fight your dog to get them into a certain position. It also can help your dog realize that those positions aren't a punishment. So, for example, taking lay. Lay is generally hard to get a dog into. If you're going to force them into it, you practically have to lay on them to get them into lay. And if you use the treat to just guide your dog down into lay, your dog's going to be much more likely to think that lay is a good behavior and not being punished or dominated. So that's part of the reason why I think it works really well. So does it take training to do food luring? I would say a little bit, not a lot. Generally, dog is going to follow food pretty well. I guess the biggest thing is just making sure that you know how to handle the food and handling it smoothly. So maybe just a little getting used to it. So it's generally just a matter of them not losing the food. But it could take a little bit if your dog doesn't follow very well, but generally it doesn't take that much training. How do you start to food lure? I would say generally if you're teaching your dog a simple trick such as sit, or a simple behavior such as sit, I would recommend just starting there because sit is really easy. All you do is lift the food up and the head should, follow that movement, and the back side of the dog should sit down. So generally I would say just use simple tricks and learn how to lure your dog through them. So, and then spin or turn. As always, be very patient with it because they can just kind of lose the food. It can be frustrating, but you need to be patient with it. So what situations would be good for luring? Food luring is really good way to get dogs to go places that they're scared of or don't particularly want to go. So for example, you can use food luring to get your dog to go in the kennel. And as already mentioned before, just general training situations. Obviously, you're not going to be able to use food luring in every training situation, but if you can, I would say it's a really good idea to use food luring. Do you have to use food to lure? So if your dog does not like food particularly, or does not work for it, or you just don't have food that's easy to use for this, you can use toys or your hand. If your dog follows their hand really well, that's another way to do it. I do use toys occasionally with Retro. And also, you can also just train your dog to follow your hand, and that can be really nice to have when there's no treats around. Basically, to sum it up, from personal experience, I've been using food luring for some years now. It's my go-to training method at this point because it's very, very effective. It has saved me a lot of frustration with training because there's been several tricks that would be absolute nightmares to try to pull my dog through or push or whatever my dog through. So it's really a lifesaver in that sense. I would say probably the most important takeaway from this is to make sure when you're training with the food luring to be patient with it and slow with it. Don't expect to get your dog to do the entire trick right away. Food luring doesn't work that way. Generally, you need to take incremental steps and then the full behavior for it to be the most effective. But generally, this training, it's pretty easy. The more you do it, the more you'll understand how to break tricks up into small sections that are easy for your dog to understand. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I would love to hear from you guys. I hope this video was helpful for you guys, and I hope that maybe it casts some insight or some new information on food luring, because I know I've talked about it a couple times in my videos. You've seen me use it. With that, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, please consider subscribing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.